Trump has decided to tweet out a breaking statement. This was a couple of days ago, but as you can see, we'll get this up first because it's the title of the segment as well. Breaking news, highest gas prices in history. Do you miss me yet?
You know, I've seen loads of clips of people saying, bring back the orange man. I don't care what he tweets. Just normies. Just
who would ever care?
Normie people who, you know, who are not involved in the sort of political thing. Just people being like, look, I just don't like how I'm going to pay this much.
I know you guys are eternally on twitter.com, but I'm not. I have a job. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
so, yeah, that's never a concern for anyone. Normal, it was only a concern for other people. And you can see here, if we go to the next one, there's a statement from him talking about the fact that he was on a podcast, and this podcast was just straight up deleted.
Huh.
This was him, invited by a group of people who decided they would interview the ex-president. So he's a guest, like Alex Jones on Joe Rogan. And YouTube have now changed their terms to be that you cannot even talk to someone from a different place. This is a change of the terms. It used to be that Alex Jones is banned, but Joe Rogan can have him on and talk to him because it's Joe Rogan's show, and he's just, you know, Alex is
He's
there.
a guest, yeah.
He's a guest. That's not even allowed now.
Right.
At least if we are to take this for what it is. They deleted it for us, they would say election, fill in the blank. I'm not going to say it. And if we move forwards, we can see the responses. So this is a response from one of the guys who did it. This country has fallen apart. Our interview has been deleted after being one of the most popular podcast videos in the history of our time. I'm out. Which, I imagine, yeah, if they had 1.5 million subscribers, and this had already gotten 3 million views by the time I was watching it. I was halfway through.
Yeah.
Came back this morning, turned it on, and it gone. Just can't watch
And I bet YouTube didn't give any explanation for this at all. Just...
Well, they did send him a link. I don't know if I have it here, but they sent him a thing, or at least they sent like, you've had channel strike reasons, election, blank, information. Right. If we move forward, we go to the next one. They also have the fact that he speaks in here about the weakness of Afghanistan. Because I'll try and remember what I can from this interview now.
Yeah, you better not actually play the clip.
No, I can't play this. Just don't avert your eyes, ladies and children. So in here, he says that if he was...
subscribe to Vought, should be fine, according to YouTube.
Yeah. So with him in office, he says there would have been none of this stuff with Ukraine. And he lays it out, and he actually lays it out incredibly in detail. Which, for Trump as well. He just says, look, I gave them orders, which is take every single nut, bolt, everything. He said, what about the hangers, sir? He was like, take the hangers back.
Yeah.
And even the guy interviewing was like, what do you mean take the hangers back? He was like, literally, undo them, take it back, everything. I don't want a thing being left there. Then get the civilians out, then the soldiers. Like, that was what he told them to do. That was his plan.
Oh, that's sensible.
Yeah, made all kinds of sense.
Yeah.
And no, that isn't what happened. They took out the soldiers first, left all the equipment and the civilians, and then, well, we all remember what happened.
13 people died.
Yeah, and he lays out, well, this is what led to the United States internationally be seen as weak.
Yep.
Cannot even manage your own evacuation from Afghanistan without it being an absolute S show.
As if there was no great pressure either. That was the thing. There was no... It's not like the soldiers were losing a war. Like, the Taliban weren't, like, you know, overcoming battalions of American soldiers and storming the gates.
No.
There's no need for it.
As he says himself, I spoke to Abdul. It was great. The leader of the Taliban. And he agreed with Abdul. He said to him, he says, don't you kill any American soldiers. Absolutely none. I don't want any more coming home. Otherwise, we're going to hit you harder than you ever felt it. And 18 months passed with not an American soldier being killed. 0 Americans were killed.
He did drop a Moab on them, so...
But to tell them, you'll be hit harder than you ever have if you do anything bad. And so 18 months went by, in quote from him, no Americans were killed in 18 months, not in Democrat-run cities like Detroit or Chicago, but in Afghanistan, no Americans were killed in 18 months.
Well, yeah, they definitely can't say that in Detroit and Chicago.
For those 18 months, it was much safer to be in Afghanistan than it was to be in Detroit or Chicago.
Demonstrably true.
And then he says, well, look, as a result of that, Putin has done what he's done, and if I was there and we organized that evacuation properly, Putin wouldn't have done what he's done.
That's correct.
And he says, look, I've called Putin many times when he was in office and said, don't do it. If you do it, we will come at you and we will go after you. And then, well, he's out. The evacuation goes terribly. The American empire, you know, the American world looks weak as hell.
Well, it's receding. Like, it's actively losing territory at this point.
Yeah, there was also the point he made there on that front of energy independence or energy dominance, as he called it. Because he was like, look, we were dominant in energy. And then Biden
Which they were.
Screwed it up.
What I love about this as well is it's completely destroyed the Trump-Russia narrative. It's like, what, Putin waited until his puppet was out of office to invade?
It's the stupidest
What?
thing in the world.
You know, if anyone's a puppet at this point, doesn't it look like Joe Biden?
Yeah, I mean, who also left all the helicopters for the Taliban?
Yeah.
Who are now, as he says, the biggest arms dealers on planet Earth for the last year, because they've been making some great deals. If we go to the next one, we can see some of this that he speaks about, of course, the fact that he also called General Milley an effing idiot, because Milley was like, oh, we'll just leave the $80 million helicopters there. And Trump was like, why would we just put a couple of £1,000 worth of fuel in them and fly them back to the United States?
Yeah.
No, sir, it's cheaper to leave them there. You're an idiot.
Okay,
Get
why
out.
not blow them up then? Like, why not spike them in some way?
All kinds of stupid. If you go to the next one, Milley, of course, is still around doing what he's doing, and is here. You can see a Daily Mail article saying that he's helped implementing 6 million man hours on diversity and ideological indoctrination.
Well, I mean, Milley, for anyone who doesn't remember, was the guy who was like, I'm really concerned about white rage.
I want to know about right rage.
I want to check my privilege.
I want to know how January 6th happened.
Yeah.
Okay, Milley. 6 million man hours wasted. It would have been, there's also apparently, as you can see, $500,000 were spent on this just for the materials.
Now is the time, is it, Milley? Now is the time.
The writing of the materials.
Yeah.
But
15 days into the invasion of Ukraine, and now is the time for diversity training.
spent $500,000 on that. I mean, literally, if you burnt the money, it would have been more useful. If
Yeah.
you go to the next one, we can see that the full interview is up on these guys' website. Of course, we can't play any clips because God knows what will happen. But there you are. That's fullsend.com. So if you want to go and check out what they are up to, which is not on YouTube, of course. And then I thought we'd go through some of the other things that may make you miss Trump, which is the White House apparently does because they're campaigning for him,
Oh,
which is weird. So we go to the next one. You can see here the White House decided to tweet this out. U.S. natural gas production is at a record high. In fact, the U.S. was a net exporter of petroleum and petroleum products in each of the last 2 years and will be a net exporter of natural gas for years to come. And then they have a graph.
that's a very interesting graph.
Hmm.
I happen to notice that it stops at 2020, the year Trump left office.
2016, there's a huge spike in exports, a continual drop in imports, and you get energy independence or energy dominance.
Yeah.
And you get all the way to 2020 where it's at its peak. And then, well, we know what happened.
Yeah.
Because this graph only goes to 2020. If we go to the next one, I think we can see a more modern graph.
Ah,
As
yes.
you can see, that shows all the years
Dramatic drop
for
from
crude production.
Biden.
Yeah, as you can see, Biden gets to office, little red line there. I don't know if you can click on it to make a bigger jump.
Incidentally, nearly back to sort of 2015, 2016 levels before Trump came in. So you can see exactly what the intention here is.
But also the fall off is immediate.
Yeah.
There is no way this is not him.
I mean,
that's-
day one, he killed the Keystone XL pipeline development and various other things. It's all being done under the auspices of environmentalism.
Yeah.
It's environmental to get the Venezuelans to produce American oil, apparently.
If we go forward, we can go to the next one, of course, which is the White House continues to campaign for Donald Trump by tweeting out, when we have electric cars powered by clean energy, we will never have to worry about gas prices again. And autocrats like Putin won't be able to use fossil fuels as weapons against other nations. Again, the narrative of, just buy an electric car, bro. What are you moaning about the gas price for?
Where do they think the electricity comes from?
There's that as well. They're making the
Coal
assumption...
power plants.
They're making the assumption that it'll all come from renewables. But even then,
No, it won't.
in the middle of the fact that you've pissed off your citizenry to a degree that gas is almost $7 a barrel. Sorry, $7 a gallon.
Yeah.
And then you're screeching, just buy an electric car. I mean, you saw I went down, covered it the
Yeah.
other day. They're continuing this.
Yeah.
This is still the line.
If I could buy an electric car, I probably wouldn't be complaining about the fuel price.
You can't afford the gasoline? Why don't you just buy a $60,000 electric car, loser?
But they don't. I mean, they must know that renewable energy is not going to be able to power like millions of cars that the Americans drive around every day.
It's delusional.
No.
It's
I mean, if they were like, yeah, so what we're going to do is have like an electric car subsidy scheme and start pumping out nuclear power plants, I'd be like, okay, well, at least they've got a plan.
You've got some green energy there.
Yeah, exactly. You've got something, but they've got nothing.
If we go to the next one, I just wanted to demonstrate, of course, the other reasons that make people miss Trump. As he said, the gas prices. Don't know if you can click on that for the meme, which is a good meme. My girl asked me to take her somewhere expensive, and he's gone to the gas pump.
Christ, look at that, $7.
$7 a barrel, wherever that is.
Trump did predict that as well.
Yeah, for British people, this is £1.17 per litre. And if you're British, you may be frothing at the mouth at the idea of it going back down to that much, because we'll talk about that in a minute. And there's Not the Bee also pointing out that as you shell out your cash for gas, remember that said cash is also worth 8% less than last year as America now hits a 40-year inflation record. That
That's
transitory
mad.
inflation
That is mad.
is now at 8%.
I told everyone Donald Trump's presidency will be like a glowing golden era. I told everyone.
You are right. There's also the fact of just keep in mind, let's say the Afghanistan withdrawal went beautifully, and then Russia had a change of heart and 2017 just went, or 2018 just went, we'll just join NATO. And then there was no conflict in the world. The inflation would still be 8% if Biden was in office and had done the things he's done. And all the spending from Trump as well, I must admit. Which is just, yeah.
Well, dumping like half of the dollars that have ever been printed in your first year of office.
Print the money.
What do you expect's going to happen?
Yep, that's that. If we go to the next one, we can also see more memes about this. I saw this one from Spoon, good friend of the show. As you can see here, Fed prints 80% of all dollars in existence in 2020, causes record inflation. Damn it, Russia. How could you do this? Very sad.
Yeah.
And then we'll go to UK petrol prices because I want the Americans to know how bad it is here as well. And as you can see, this is some place that's selling it at £1.84 a litre for regular.
So that's what, $4, something like that?
No. Per gallon, remember.
Oh.
It's $11 per gallon.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The Americans are spending $7 a gallon and losing their minds. We're spending 11. It's not good. It's really not good.
Right, okay.
Go to the next one so we can see the fact that people are also pointing out that, hey, Greta, how you doing?
Oh, Jesus Christ.
How's your campaigning been doing that's now hurting us immensely? Oh no, you found a new thing to jump on a bandwagon
Nice
for.
hat she's wearing. Look at that.
Yes, transgender hat.
Yeah, the trans hat.
Fridays for Future, I stand with Ukraine. Literal bandwagon jumper.
Costs her nothing to do this. It's amazing. She
Well,
probably makes money out of it, in fact.
She's an adult. She'll never be held accountable now.
Nope.
Never, ever, ever. Thanks for making us all poorer. Thanks for that.
I know she's put on weight as well. She looks like she's been through one of those face app things that make you fat.
Yeah, she's an adult. She can take these kind of things now. But also the fact that we now have no serious energy policies anywhere in the West, thanks to her activism and people like her, who have just played.
To be fair, though, it's not really fair to blame her. They all wanted it. She's just a representation.
She's a representation, I guess, but she's not. She is a figurehead of a movement, and that movement have meant that we don't have like a 100-year energy policy.
No.
Where we sat down and thought, okay, 100 years, we're going to need nuclear. Okay, we'll pay for that, and we'll make it all in place. Instead, we had stupid things like Theresa May, who went, "Oh, we live in a on-demand world now, so all these gas reserves we got, we'll just sell those for a good price, and then we'll just buy them back when we need them, right? We're on an on-demand world." She actually did this, apparently.
Oh, God.
And then everything happened, and now we have to buy it back. It's not great.
It just annoys me hearing it. Okay.
Going back to this Russian gas.
Total lack of prudence.
Going to Moscow-based funded organization here, Pravda, the biggest newspaper in Moscow, they decided to go with this headline, which is Gazprom supplies gas to Europe through Ukraine as usual throughout all of this. This is interesting.
I mean, it's winter.
No, but this is during the war.
Oh, yeah.
This is 5 days into the war. Gazprom was still sending gas at an increased rate than usual to Europe. Europeans had asked for more. So the leader said that the EU had added the application supplies, saying they needed it grown to 109 million cubic meters, which was an increase of like 10 million cubic meters from whatever they had. And then if we go to the next one, we can see a map of the pipelines. And we have a friend who is married to a Slovakian and whose brother works in the gas industry in Slovakia on the pipes for an independent contractor. And he told us, so we're taking his word for this, apparently it has now doubled that particular pipeline there,
Oh, really?
Transgas, coming from Russia. They've doubled the input because they're desperately trying to buy as much as possible. That's on the 9th of March.
Europe is basically powered and heated by Russian gas, as I understand it.
That. We move forward. We can see the fact that the Germans have also decided to reject all calls to ban Russian oil and gas.
Because there's literally no way they can do it without their civilization shutting down yet.
The rest of us, as you can see with Biden and all the rest of it trying to do these things, the Germans and the EU are just like, nah, not doing that. And if we move forward, we can see Trump saying that he warned about this. And he even sent Merkel a little white flag of surrender after she did the gas deal with Putin. This is beautiful.
Glorious golden era.
I love how he writes this as well. He said, "I preached loud and clear to Angela Merkel, you are making a tremendous deal by making this deal with Russia, with Nord Stream 2. And until I came along, no one knew what Nord Stream 2 was." It's
true.
but it's just like nobody in the room knew. He walks into a deal being struck between the Germans and the Russians. No one has any idea what's going on. I do.
But I mean, he was right. So,
No, but he says that no one knows what Nord Stream 2 is. Okay. "I was telling her loud and clear and publicly, and in fact, I sent her something as a little gift. It was a little white flag. It was a flag of surrender. She said, 'What is this?' I said, 'That's the flag of surrender.'" Could you imagine the text? It's such boomer.
She's just like, "Why have you sent me a French flag?"
It's because you're looking French, lady. So there's that as well, which is beautiful. Do you miss him yet? Because I do. It's Wonderful. If we go to the next one, we can also see apparently the EU are aiming to double the amount of gas in storage by next winter.
What, the amount of Russian gas in storage?
As said, apparently the input from Russia is being doubled, the Slovakian side of this.
We're going to buy it up while we can before the Americans cut the supply lines.
They're also rejecting to ever cut off Russian gas in Germany, so you can guess who this is all coming from.
They are closing down the nuclear power plants, though.
Ukraine, we stand with you, but also we're paying for the Russian invasion. Right.
Unbelievable.
Move to the next one. We can also see that Germany is increasing. This is a graph of what they've done over the last few years. They're increasing their renewables and gas, but also halving their nuclear production because nuclear bad.
Ideological nonsense.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with nuclear power. What there's... Oh, God. Anyway, Karen.
Go to the next one. We can see this in the UK as well because there's a nice little graph here.
Oh, I hate this so much.
Yeah, I've shown you this before, but I think people should know. So this is costs in your energy bill, and there are graphs here. I don't know if you can click on the... Yep, that one there. As you can see, breaks it all down, and...
What's that red one?
25% of the cost of electricity goes to environmental and social obligations.
That's right. It's a government tax. Quarter of your energy bill is a government tax for ideological reasons.
I spoke to a friend of mine who works in the energy industry
It's making me angry.
to fact check this, and he said basically yes.
Yeah.
There is a breakdown that is further. So part of it, the social obligations part, is like subsidizing old ladies who need electricity to keep warm
Yep.
and all that. But
The environmental bit.
the environmental bit is presumably the majority. As you can see, it has increased over time as well, tremendously. And I can imagine this is also coming to everyone else in the world, not just
Thanks,
us.
Carrie Johnson.
Thanks, Greta. Again, we go to the next one. I thought I'd end this off with an advert from Trump advertising his position on all of this, which is, again, do you miss me yet? And let's play.
Elections matter, and when folks vote, they order what they want, and in this case, they got what they asked for.
U.S. crude oil prices hitting a new 7-year high.
A wave of smash and grab robberies in California and
They
nationwide.
got what they asked for.
We just have this jobs report.
Whoa. I see 194,000. That is real low.
A stark reminder of what defeat really looks
They
like.
got what they asked for.
The Russians are moving towards decapitating Ukraine.
Shortages will unfortunately be with us again.
This would not happen if President Trump was in the White House.
They got what they asked for.
Brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I know it is a Trump advert, and American adverts for politics are amazing.
But it's also totally accurate.
It's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's powerful about them.
Yeah.
And the Democrat ones are just not. I thought I'd also end this off with just to mention something close to my heart, which is space travel, and the fact that, well, everything in the US government turns to crap as soon as the Dems are in. Again, NASA has had this problem a bit. It's gotten worse, as you can see here.
Oh, God.
NASA pronouns. Make sure the aliens correct our pronouns. We're committed to supporting the right of every employee at NASA to be addressed by their preferred name and pronouns. Click here to read our statement from our Office of Diversity and Equal Opportunity in regards to recent gender pronouns IT project. They say in here, we are also supported by NASA's leadership so that employees can share their gender identities and show allyship with the LGBTQIA+ community.
What about the map community, NASA?
Meanwhile, let's go look at someone who is involved in actual space travel, unlike NASA, as you see.
Someone who doesn't have his pronoun in his bio and is actually getting into space. Good point, yeah.
Elon Musk's another 48 Starlinks just reached orbit. A man who Joe Biden hates.
Yes.
And will refuse to say the word Tesla as often as possible. Meanwhile, Donald Trump was shaking his hand being like, you're one of our geniuses, we need to take care of you.
Yeah.
People who can get stuff done. Do you miss him yet? If you appreciate that segment from the podcast The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as Bo's interview here with Simon Webb, or you may know on YouTube as History Debunked, or Debunked. If you want to find out what else we're putting out, you can always follow us on Getter at @lotuseaters_com. Thank you and goodbye.